When I got my first real job as a young man, one of the first things that the person that was training me told me was not to work too hard. And I did not understand why he would say something like that to me because, at this point we're coworkers. Like if I don't do a good job, then he's going to have to pick up the slack. That's how it worked in my mind. And it took me literally like 10 years later to fully comprehend what he was trying to tell me. And we'll get into that a bit later. But yeah, my mentality when I first entered the workforce, especially as a kid with, no backup plan and this job being my only source of income, I was paranoid to not do a good job. I really couldn't take that risk, you know what I'm saying? Like in my mind, I had to do a good job. I had to get noticed because I couldn't get fired and be broke. And because I had that mentality for years, I hated my coworkers who never worked hard. It would genuinely piss me off. I'm like, it's like pulling teeth to get them to do their job. And then, of course, if you are the hard worker, you're the one that's got to pick up the slack when they don't do their job. And yeah, I felt this way for a long time. And that's where a lot of my working frustration came from, I guess. Because here we are, in a lot of the cases, doing the exact same job. This guy's getting paid the exact same amount as me, and he's doing way less work. Like that's just, it comes back to the whole fairness thing. I'm like, that's not fair, which is a very immature way of thinking about things now that I know better. But fast forward a few years and like, I kind of understand the lazy employee more because although a lot of times I went through situations where coworkers, they didn't work very hard or they weren't very smart or whatever the case may be, and they got fired, that usually wasn't the case. Like usually it was, they didn't work very hard. I worked very hard to compensate for them. And then we just both coexisted just like that. And of course I wasn't a snitch. I wasn't going to tell the manager, oh yeah, by the way, this guy sucks. He doesn't work hard. Like that's no way to go about things either, because you don't want to be the guy that's starting problems at work. And again, this is all my mentality. I know a lot of people don't think like this. So let me know if you can relate to this. But yeah, I would just really be frustrated with my coworkers. I just didn't understand how you could be so lazy. That's when I started to realize that there are some just dumb people out there that can't do a good job. And then there's people that are strategic about their laziness. They become like masters at deflecting work. It's almost like they make it so that it is more difficult to get them to do a task than it is for you to just do it yourself. So if they get told something, they are asking a million questions, they're deflecting, they're like having a conversation with them to try to get them to do something is like ping-ponging back and forth. It's almost like a Jedi mind trick that they're doing. Like they're pretending that they are so dumb and they don't understand, but really they're just trying to get you to do it instead. And it took some years for me to realize that that is not incompetence, it's strategy. And I mean, to this day, I don't agree with it, but like, I respect it. I've gotten to the point where I literally respect it because I mean, especially with the job market right now, if you can get away with doing half of a job, hey, maybe you have enough energy to do what you need to do after work and before work. And meanwhile, there's me over here slaving away, trying to do everything and go the extra mile. And then we still end up getting paid the same amount. Or even worse, they're getting paid more than me. And that is something that is always just gonna irk me. Like when you know you do way more than the person that you're working with, you're better than them, you're probably more qualified than them, and they still get paid more than you, that'll be something that sets you over the edge. But anyways, it took me years to realize that that is what that person was trying to tell me at my first real job. He wasn't saying to be incompetent. He was saying that if you work too hard, you will be taken advantage of. And that is 100% a fact of every single place I have ever worked. Whether that is your coworkers taking advantage of you by giving you most of the work, or getting rewarded for finishing your work early by your manager so you get more work or more responsibilities. Basically, the company is going to lean on you just because they can. And from a company perspective, they kind of expect this. Like they want that person in the company, obviously, but they're few and far between. So they know they're mostly going to have the lazy coworker, and they expect them to do the bare minimum. So when they have someone like you, that is like one or two less lazy coworkers that they have to hire because you're going to be doing the work of 2 to 3 people. And that's the point. That's what he was trying to say. He's like, hey, if you work too hard, they will work you too hard. And it took me years to realize that, assuming you're not trying to like climb the corporate ladder or advance in the company, like assuming you are content with your job, the best place you could be is to be the guy that people don't really want to give all the work to. Whether that be because they might think you're a little dumb or they might think you're lazy. As long as they know you're competent enough to do the bare minimum, they'll keep you around. Because honestly, especially in today's age, it's a bit of a hassle to replace people. It costs money to train people. And then on top of that, you're really loud about your wins. You are going to be golden. Because if you are doing the bare minimum and then every time you do something well, you let everybody know it, that is most likely the only time they're going to hear about you. So every time they hear about you, despite how much work you're actually doing and how much your coworkers probably hate you for not doing your job, whenever other people hear about you, like the higher ups or people in different departments, they are hearing you talk about that one good thing that you did. And believe it or not, that is like corporate America in a nutshell. And I just want to give a disclaimer because I know I just went on a whole long rant about people who are lazy at work and whatnot. But you know, sometimes you got to give people a little bit of grace because you never know what they got going on at home. Maybe they're in a bad situation and they are putting all their effort into fixing that situation and dealing with stuff in their real life. And maybe they just can't give that effort that you could give at work right now. That is a very realistic thing that happens, and I just want to make sure we don't just gloss over that fact and we're being insensitive, because obviously work is not the end all be all. Not everyone can just shut off their personal life and walk into work. And what made me think about all this is that I'm currently dealing with a problem at my job where someone is actually getting the credit for a lot of the work that I put in. Like, basically, I laid the foundation. I did 99% of the job, but I wasn't very vocal about it. You know, I never really took my credit where I should have. And now I basically put this person in a position to run across the finish line with my baton. And now the whole company is praising this person, talking about how great of a job he did. They even invited him to do a whole presentation to the company about how good of a job he did. While I sat there with a sour look on my face, just like, I cannot believe that this is happening. But I have no one to blame but myself. As much as I wanted to be the salty individual and just ask him questions that I knew he didn't know the answer to because I did it and he didn't, I wasn't gonna be that guy. And it's just not in my character. The more I reflect on it and the older I get, I kind of respect it. That could be a career starter for that guy. Now everybody in the company knows that he did this good thing. He could take that to his next job. He could post it all over LinkedIn if he wants, and no one's gonna bat an eye. In fact, people are going to support him and back him. It doesn't matter that he's not actually qualified in the ways that people think he is. And that's life, right? The loudest ones get all the credit. So I don't want to make this video about being bitter and salty. Like, I am bitter and salty, but like, I also, like I said, I respect it. I'm at a point in my life where I really don't care that much that I'm just gonna sulk about it. I am in a position where I do get to climb because of the hard work I put in 5 years ago at this company, so I can't be too mad, but it doesn't mean I can't acknowledge when there's some BS going on. But yeah, man, that's how I learned to respect the low effort, the bare minimum employee, you know, the guy that's quote unquote lazy. I mean, I still don't respect the incompetent people. Like, I don't know what you're doing with your life, you know, like if you're just bouncing around from job to job because you literally can't keep a job because you suck at everything you do, I don't really have a lot of respect for that. But for the people that strategically do the bare minimum and get away with it, hey man, hats off, because that is how the game should be played. Because when you really think about it, like if you really want to get granular, I'm working really hard and I'm mad at my coworker who's not working really hard, and the goal of us working hard is to serve this company that doesn't even care about us. Who is really the idiot here? Because who really knows what's gonna happen? You know, a month from now, I could get fired. We could both get fired. And when I look back on my career at the company, I'm gonna be salty about how much work I put in, how much I changed the company, how much I actually impacted it. And then they're gonna look at me the exact same way that this guy that basically did nothing. I'm the one walking away with egg on my face, you know? So I respect it. And I'm kind of joking with all this. My real philosophy is that it might not directly translate in the job that you're working right now, but I think if you make it a habit of actually working hard at every single thing that you do, enough trial and error doing that, you're going to put your effort in the right place one day and it's going to work out for you. That's how I really feel. That's why I don't actually feel bad about working hard. And I think that's all you can really do because, I mean, jobs are jobs, careers are careers, like it's all just work at the end of the day. And had you made a couple different decisions earlier in your life, you would be in a completely different spot having the same problem. So I think it's really not that serious. I don't know. I kind of just wanted to make this video to talk about kind of my moral dilemma with bad coworkers. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you relate to being the hard worker? Do you relate to being the guy that doesn't care, the guy that doesn't do anything? Let me know, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Shogun!